I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
Ms. Downs, does Google think that this is a problem, and what is the solution that you're coming up with to address it?
So the first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative content, and the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the earth is not flat.
Correct.
They've got the narrative control to where anyone that goes to search for this, they're going to see pancakes floating up in space, you know, and it turns people away. Or they see a snow globe out in the middle of space with water falling off the sides, and they're like, what is this? It turns them away. The mainstream agenda was to push their false narrative, all these hit pieces on flat Earth. 2016, 2017, that was pretty much the end of the YouTube era, where we could actually find real evidence, real, content. Any search engine, the algorithms are suited to their favor. You're going to see all the hit pieces. You're going to see all the stuff that's there to debunk flat Earth. So it's just, it's almost impossible to get the real information.
YouTube played their part in it, and not just cherry picking which videos they wanted to show, but deciding whether or not they wanted you to subscribe to somebody. So on several occasions, and with several different content creators, I'd press the subscribe button to then find out several days or several weeks later that I couldn't find that content creator, assuming they'd either been deleted or they'd been censored beyond belief. And of course they had been, because my subscription that was previously made was no longer there. And I know that I hadn't unsubscribed to anybody. And then resubscribing, you'd find again that down the line that the same things reoccurred.
There's a major campaign by Google and YouTube and all of these corporate lying companies to discredit the flat Earth. Why do they have that disclaimer under every video dealing with the topic of flat Earth, that it is an archaic, antiquated, outdated model that the ancients used to believe in?
We have been ridiculed, we have been trolled, we have been censored beyond belief by YouTube. It's really difficult to get the truth out there.
YouTube controls the algorithm. Who owns YouTube? Google. These are these big corporations that came in and said, the flat Earth is getting way too big. People are finding this out. We don't want them to find this out. This will just completely destroy our agenda that we've worked so hard for. We're losing it because of our own technology that we created. So they had to get involved. Withholding information and knowledge is a form of control.
If you go to Google and try to find anything flat Earth related, then the first thing that's going to pop up is the Flat Earth Society. And that is something that has absolutely nothing to do with this movement. In fact, it's a completely made up organisation in order to deter anybody looking for some sort of truth. If the globe model was as strong as they claim to be, then there wouldn't be so much concern with anybody talking about a stationary Earth model. Now, everything's fine in court until somebody walks in with a load of shit on you. Everything's fine until somebody out there has evidence that's going to prove you guilty. And that's when you start acting suspicious. That's when you start panicking. That's when you start putting damage control out there, which is inevitably what these bots are, what these trolls are on social media. And
the thing about it is, they didn't come up with censorship to censor conspiracy videos. Conspiracy videos have always been out there. You've always been able to read about conspiracy videos, watch about conspiracies on TV. Former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura, had a hit TV series called Conspiracy Theory for several years after leaving office, because conspiracy theories have always been entertained until flat Earth became bigger than all those conspiracy theories. So the reason they come up with censorship was to specifically censor flat Earth videos. And once they seen that they could easily get by with this, then Facebook started doing the same thing. It was, however, a little bit more difficult for Facebook to get away with this, because they were supposed to be a family and friendly orientated platform. And therefore, Facebook had a lot of lawsuits and civil suits filed against them that you don't know about, that's been kept hidden. And they do their best to keep these stories hidden because they don't want the general public knowing that they could actually file civil suits against Facebook for infringing on civil rights by their censorship.
I'm sure you have concluded, based upon what we've asked, that we are deeply offended by censoring of content inappropriately by Facebook. Examples have been raised: a Roman Catholic university, a state Senate candidate in Michigan. I would be offended if this censoring were occurring on the left as well as the right, and I want you to know that. And do you take from what we have indicated so far that in a bipartisan fashion, Congress is offended by inappropriate censoring of content? My point is that we don't favor censoring in any way, so long as it doesn't involve hate speech or violence or terrorism, and of course the examples today indicate quite the contrary.
Let me go to something you introduced. You introduced Laura Murphy. So you know who Laura Murphy is because you said her name, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you hired her as a consultant, and in your opening statement, you talked a lot about civil rights. I think we should probably phrase it a little differently, that you work with civil rights work is because it's a result of the number of lawsuits that you've had. NAACP, even Secretary Ben Carson filed a fair housing lawsuit against you for violations. So let me ask you this. Do you know what redlining is?
Yes.
Okay, then you should have known better. And maybe if you had real diversity or inclusion on your team, somebody in that room would have said what you were doing when you looked at what you were doing in the housing, how you were redlining or using zip codes to eliminate people from getting information. Now, have you read the report that Laura Murphy sent to you? You've talked a lot about diversity, and you introduced her name about this great study in her work. Have you read it? Do you know what the recommendations were? Do you know when she issued the report? Yes or no?
I've seen the report.
Somebody talked about lying in this committee. I'm only saying it.
Well, one of them was around housing ads, which we've talked about. The other was around setting up a civil rights task force.
And who's on the Civil Rights Task Force?
Sheryl Sandberg is the person she's...
What's civil rights? Okay, we know Cheryl's not really civil rights, so I'm trying to help you here. She's your COO, and I don't think there's anything, and I know Cheryl well, about civil rights in her background, so come better than that for me, if we're gonna talk civil rights.
Congressman, I don't know.
How could you not know when you have employed the most historical, the largest civil rights firm to deal with issues that are major? And this is what's so frustrating to me. It's almost like you think this is a joke when you have ruined the lives of many people, discriminated against them. I have a lot of questions I'm going to send to you that I'm not going to be able to get through, and I would like an answer because this is appalling and disgusting to me, and I yield back.
We shouldn't be worrying about so-called fake news. We should worry about so-called fact-checking. Leave my news feed alone. Let news organizations and websites stand or fall on their own reputations. I can decide who to trust. Joe, I don't need some Google deciding what's important. If I search for a crazy conspiracy theory, I want that theory to come up in the top.
Facebook's fact checkers have got to go. The system on Facebook and Instagram allowing so-called third-party organizations to decide what you get to see and what you cannot, well, quite frankly, it is insane. But it's even more insane when those fact checkers aren't checking any facts and are constantly and consistently wrong. Facebook and Instagram for over 2 years now have had this third-party fact-checking system, which quite frankly, let's just call it what it is. It's completely a joke. But something happened this past week that demonstrates just how much of a joke it really is. And I know we know from so many other posts that this is the case, but I want to show you a specific example.
Yeah. What is it? Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to that kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it. And I'm sick of it. I want everybody to be in on the joke, man. You What I mean? For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on. You know?
They manipulate our history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. The history books are lies. You need to know that. You must know that.
Half the people watching this are going to be saying, oh, what's he saying? What's he saying? You know, that you are being run by people who are insane and you don't know.
When I found out there were 8 presidents before George Washington, I wanted to smack somebody. You know, I wanted to know why I was taught otherwise.
Well, after getting tens of thousands of retweets on Twitter, thousands of likes on Facebook and Instagram, the fact checkers at Meta hit the post with a false information label. Really? Well, turns out the fact checker is an entity called Lead Stories, which claims that, quote, independent fact checkers say that this information has no basis in fact. Wow, pretty interesting. The actual claim here of the fact check makes no sense. It really has nothing to do with our post. The fact check then goes on to fact check a tweet that has nothing to do with our post. Now, setting aside whether or not that tweet, that post was right or not, that post had nothing to do with ours. It was completely unrelated. But then you get down to the bottom of the article and you find what's really being said here. The phrase has been hijacked by conspiracy theorists who believe an evil cabal is as a pretext to seize global domination. In some versions of the theory, shadowy elites orchestrated to seize power. And that is really what the fact check is about. It's not checking a fact, it's checking a belief. Lead Stories is saying that unless you agree with the WEF, then you must be debunked. Not because the information is wrong. That's the joke. Just like the fact-checking process, just like the ability of unaccountable so-called fact-checkers to be able to delist content and make it nearly impossible to find. They are given that power and deputized by Facebook in order to be able to control what you see and what you read based upon their beliefs, based upon whether or not they agree with yours.
So what they have formed is a retaining wall of defense to detain all the real flat earth information behind that wall, starting from the bottom and working its way up. And what I mean by that is, take YouTube for instance. You have what you call your scouts. These are the people who go out and scout flat earth videos, and then they share those videos to the trolls and the shills of YouTube, of course, and then these trolls and shills will make what you call debunking videos of flat earth, and those videos will be put at the top of the search list, making it impossible for anyone trying to research flat earth to actually research it. And then of course, for extra measures, they shadow ban your account, they delete comments out, and they mute notifications going out to your subscribers and making it impossible for people to even find you in the search engine at all. And that same censorship detaining wall on Facebook starts out with these algorithm groups, which mainly consist of trolls and shills that have been kicked out of real flat earth groups years ago. And they use these groups to lure in people who are new to flat earth, people who are researching, trying to find out information about flat earth. So they join these groups thinking they're going to get information, but in return they get false information and narratives from globers who are pretending to be flat earthers, causing confusion in the mind of the researcher, and the researcher just totally gives up on the idea altogether. And then you have the trolls and shills that administrate these groups. They infiltrate real flat earth groups and they become the snitches, the moles of the group. Every time you post a real flat earth video, they are right there watching your every move and handing it over to the fact checkers, and then the fact checkers mark your video as false information so nobody will pay attention to it. And then after they do this to you several times, they will eventually suspend or disable your account.
No one thinks how easy it is to do this, and they pulled it off, unfortunately. But we're here now to completely reverse this, and people hate on us from the left and from the right. Everyone hates on us. Stop defending Rockefeller, Rothschilds, all these goons, these people that want the New World Order, the modern day people, Bill Gates, Schwab, all these people that they're pushing for it and they feel like it's almost there. And we're sitting here fighting it. We're sitting here trying to wake the world up so we can have a peaceful and loving world again. And you're attacking us. Whose side are you on? We're trying to take these evil entities down.
And I know there's a lot of people out there, celebrities, people with big shows, big names, with big followings that know the truth of this world, and you're keeping quiet just to protect your little empire. Well, now it's time to say something because the empire is falling. If we don't do something now, all of this is going away and they're taking over this world. So speak out. It just takes one celebrity, one person with a big following, and then it goes viral, and then the entire system collapses. All of this world control is based on the heliocentric lie.
All I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.